These are the real historical reasons why mirrors became humanity's most feared supernatural portals. For over 8,000 years, cultures across the globe believed that reflective surfaces served as doorways between our world and realms beyond human understanding. The story begins in ancient Anatolia, in what's now Turkey, around 6000 BC. Craftsmen there created the world's first manufactured mirrors from obsidian volcanic glass so dark and reflective it seemed to capture souls. These early people believed something profound, that their reflection wasn't merely an image, but their actual soul staring back at them. Breaking one of these mirrors would damage the soul itself, a belief so powerful it echoed through millennia and eventually gave us the superstition of 7 years bad luck. But why did humanity develop such an intense fear of their own reflection? The answer lies in understanding what mirrors represented to ancient minds. Before modern science explained reflection as simple physics, seeing yourself perfectly duplicated in a surface was genuinely supernatural. It was a power that seemed beyond God's natural order, a magic that ordinary humans shouldn't possess. By 3500 BC, Mesopotamian priests were using bronze mirrors, not for vanity, but for divination. They believed these reflective surfaces could reveal hidden truths and connect them to spiritual realms. Egyptian pharaohs and priests followed around 2900 BC, incorporating polished metal mirrors into religious ceremonies and offerings to the gods. To them, mirrors weren't tools of reflection, but instruments of revelation. The practice of scrying, gazing into reflective surfaces to see the future or communicate with spirits, became one of humanity's oldest forms of magic. From Aztec priests in Mesoamerica to the courts of Renaissance Europe, practitioners believed mirrors served as communication channels between the physical and spiritual worlds. The reflective surface wasn't showing an image, it was opening a doorway. No historical figure embodied this belief more than John Dee, mathematician and occultist to Queen Elizabeth I. In the 1580s, while living in Bohemia, Dee acquired what he believed was a powerful scrying mirror. For decades, he used this obsidian disc in attempts to communicate with angels and spirits. Elizabeth herself called him "my philosopher," trusting his supernatural insights gained through mirror gazing. String. The Romans contributed their own lasting mirror superstition. They believed life renewed itself every 7 years, so if a mirror containing your soul broke, it would take 7 full cycles for your spiritual self to heal. This gave us the 7 years bad luck belief that persists today. But there was a practical element too. Mirrors were extraordinarily expensive, often exceeding a family's annual income. Parents found it more effective to threaten children with supernatural punishment than risk the destruction of such valuable objects. Different cultures developed their own mirror fears. In Slavic traditions, mirrors connected the human and spirit worlds. Looking into one at night, especially by candlelight, invited spirits into your room. You might see your future spouse, your death, or worse. Romanian folklore warned that uncovered mirrors after death were dangerous. The confused soul might see its reflection and become trapped inside the glass forever. The vampire's absent reflection, documented in Slavic tradition as early as the 14th century, represents another manifestation of mirror supernatural beliefs. If mirrors truly contained souls, then creatures without souls would cast no reflection. This wasn't just folklore, it was logical, supernatural thinking. When Bram Stoker immortalized this concept in Dracula in 1897, he was drawing from centuries of genuine belief. What's most disturbing is how these ancient beliefs align with modern psychological research. In 2010, psychologist Giovanni Caputo discovered what he termed The strange face in the mirror illusion. When people gaze at their own reflection in dim lighting for just a few minutes, 58% experience hallucinations. They see distortions of their faces, monsters, archetypical figures, faces of deceased relatives, even animals staring back at them. This phenomenon helps explain why mirror-based supernatural rituals consistently require dim lighting and prolonged gazing. The Bloody Mary legend, which coalesced in America during the late 1960s, follows this exact pattern. Participants must enter a darkened bathroom, light a candle, and stare into a mirror while chanting. The resulting apparition isn't supernatural. It's a predictable neurological response that our ancestors interpreted as genuine spirit contact. The Myrtles Plantation in Louisiana houses what may be America's most famous haunted mirror. According to legend, this 19th century looking glass contains the trapped spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, poisoned and unable to pass on because the mirror wasn't properly covered after their deaths. Visitors report seeing faces and handprints that appear and disappear in the glass. Whether supernatural or psychological, the mirror continues drawing thousands of visitors annually, seeking their own glimpse into the unknown. What makes mirrors uniquely powerful in human psychology isn't just their reflective properties, but their ability to create what feels like genuine contact with the impossible. Unlike other divination tools, mirrors show us ourselves while simultaneously suggesting something else might be looking back. They create a perfect storm of familiarity and otherworldliness. Chinese Feng Shui warns that mirrors can attract negative forces if placed incorrectly, while repelling evil spirits when positioned properly. Russian folklore calls mirrors the devil's invention because of their power to draw souls from bodies. Across cultures and centuries, the consistent message remains: mirrors are not passive objects but active doorways requiring respect and caution. The scientific understanding of reflection as light physics has done little to diminish these beliefs. In fact, modern research into mirror psychology reveals why our ancestors' fears made sense. Mirrors trigger complex responses in human consciousness, affecting self-perception, anxiety levels, and even inducing measurable changes in brain activity. When we look into mirrors, we are not just seeing ourselves, we are engaging with one of the most powerful tools for altered consciousness humans have ever created. Today's mirrors, mass-produced and commonplace, have lost much of their mystique. But their supernatural reputation persists in horror films, urban legends, and the quiet unease many people feel when confronting their reflection in darkness. The Bloody Mary ritual remains one of the most widespread supernatural practices among young people worldwide, proving that 8,000 years of mirror fear cannot be easily dismissed. These beliefs emerged not from ignorance, but from humanity's attempt to understand genuinely mysterious experiences. When ancient peoples gazed into Obsidian and saw visions, when medieval nobles consulted scrying mirrors for guidance, when modern teenagers summon Bloody Mary in bathroom mirrors, they are all participating in the same fundamental human experience, the recognition that mirrors somehow transcend simple reflection. The supernatural portal reputation of mirrors is not just historical curiosity, it is evidence of how human consciousness interacts with its own reflection in ways we are only beginning to understand. 8,000 years of consistent beliefs across unconnected cultures suggests something profound about the mirror-human relationship that science is still working to fully explain.